Hello, this is Online Offline. 2022 was a pretty good year for Call of Duty Mobile. Persistence was nerfed, we got our advanced stats page, LMGs and ARs got a bloom buff, you can buy old battle passes, and zombies came back. So, in honor of one of the first videos that I've ever made on this channel, here are 10 things that I'd like to see added to 2023 in no particular order. Keep in mind this list pertains to multiplayer and will not include Battle Royale or Zombies, as I am not as knowledgeable on those two as I am with multiplayer. It will also not include maps, as that deserves its own video. Nor will it include balance changes to weapons, as that's what I normally do towards the end of my weapon guides. With that being said, first things first, tactical insertions or tac inserts. You light a flare, and when you die, you spawn where you left said flare. This is an easy one as it's already in the game, but it's exclusive to the Attack of the Undead/Infected game mode. Next is the ability to edit your classes while in-game. We already have this ability, but it's exclusive to the practice firing range. Now, this is not to be confused with the ability to switch classes while you're alive. We may not have noob tubes, or traditional riot shields, but there's a reason why One Man Army never came back after Modern Warfare 2. Number 3, the ability to sell skins. I'm not talking about selling your in-game items for COD points or trading them to other players. No, we don't need a CSGO lotto scandal. I'm talking about selling them for credits, and not for much. Although I appreciate all the free skins over the years, I'm realistically never going to use most of them. Ultimately, this is less about gaining currency, and more about freeing up spaces for our phones. The game is over 20 gigs if you have everything downloaded. For me, it's 12. I would be able to save a gig or two if I was able to sell skins of vehicles, parachutes, wingsuits, charms, stickers, sprays, grenades, and some weapon skins. Mobile's most long-awaited feature is Overkill as a red perk. For years, devs have stated that they wanted to hold off on adding Overkill and focus on balancing the weapons first, which they have done a mostly fine job at. So what's the holdup? My guess is that they wanted to model it after its Modern Warfare 2019 counterpart, and its usage of all 5 attachments. In my opinion, this is rather short-sighted. In previous CODs, it was kept in check by having a limit on its attachment count, usually 1 or 2. The newer Call of Duties are the exception. 2019 lets you have 5, Vanguard lets you have 10 on both. The new Modern Warfare 2 attempted a solution, but overcorrected by having a more punishing gunsmith, in which less is more. Mobile's potential solution could be much simpler if they just looked to the past and restricted the attachment count of your second primary to 2. Let's say I wanted to run the DLQ with the CBR4. Either I focus on the DLQ and use the CBR4 as an emergency backup, or I focus on the CBR4 but can't quickscope. And if it's a red perk, you can't use the other red perks like Lightweight, Flak Jacket, or Pinpoint. A much more controversial addition would be one of Call of Duty's most infamous perks, Last Stand. And technically it's already in the game if you use the Desperado class in BR. For the uninitiated, with Last Stand, instead of dying when you were killed, you drop onto your back with 1 HP and draw out a pistol. You have invincibility frames as you drop, and eventually you'll die a few seconds later. Some versions let you crawl around. Sometimes you can use equipment with the pro version. Sometimes your teammates can revive you on the spot with second chance. Sometimes you drop with your primary in hand with final stand. And sometimes you drop with a C4 with dead man's hand. The version that I would like to pitch is a red perk that allows you to use any pistol that you have equipped as your secondary. If you don't have a pistol equipped, then you use a 1911 with no attachments. You have invincibility frames as you drop, and can live up to 15 seconds with 1 HP. You can crawl around, and your teammates will be made aware of your location so that they can revive you within that time span. Now you might be thinking, that sounds horribly toxic. But here are the drawbacks. You can't use akimbo, you can't use streaks, you can't use operators, you can't use equipment, and you can't cheat death with a TAC 5 or a kinetic armor. Also in the past, there were ways to not trigger last stand, typically deaths from headshots or getting knifed. COD 4 also included deaths from shotguns, explosions, and streaks. In mobile, melee weapons and burn damage is very popular, so it's probably fine. Entering into the second half of this list is the ability to enable crossplay. A popular sentiment regarding mobile is that if it was just more accessible to PC and console players, then it wouldn't just be considered one of the best modern Call of Duties, but one of the best period. Although mobile is starting to get some attention from the mainline COD players, the emulator and console side of the community is a bit barren. So, why not? This only really hurts the people who only play with their thumbs, and this is just an option to enable it. It would be disabled by default. Next is a Barebones playlist. Specialist, or operator mods as they're called in mobile, is a polarizing inclusion into the franchise. Much like Black Ops 4, but not to the same extent. They can be a bit annoying, especially considering the average time to kill is not that fast by most COD standards. It's one of the reasons why some players only play Search and Destroy. So why not add a Barebones playlist? No streaks, no operators, nothing but pure gunplay and whatever you spawn with. It worked for Black Ops 4, and I can see it working as a weekend playlist, similar to Alcatraz for BR. In fact, a Barebones mode could work for BR. Speaking of another playlist, third person for multiplayer. He was in the original Modern Warfare 2, he was brought back in the new Modern Warfare 2, and we've had it for years in BR. If anything, it's more popular than the first person mode in BR. Maybe because of the popularity of Fortnite, or people have spent a lot of money on their skins and they want to see it in real time. So, why not let them? Why not give it a try? Something that could be useful to me and my fellow content creators would be a theater mode to record and store gameplay. Of course, storing gameplay would make the game size bigger, but it could serve a secondary purpose. There are quite a few players that get falsely banned and mass reported, and this would help them plead their case. That is, if Activision customer service is willing to. And for the final edition of this video, which is also the most ambitious, jetpacks for multiplayer. We already have adjustable jump heights in custom lobbies. We already have jetpacks in the form of the pump class in BR. We even have maps with verticality. Rust was in Infinite Warfare, High Rise was in Advanced Warfare. In promotion of Black Ops 4, Treyarch remastered Firing Range Slums and Summit for Black Ops 3. I'd even give Nia Incursion and Soldo Harbor a chance. The real tricky part is whether or not the devs want to add wall running and teach bots how to use jetpacks. I know most people prefer their Call of Duty as boots on the ground. I do too. The game's been out for 3 years, and a jetpack/advanced movement playlist is probably the most radical thing that could spice up regular gameplay. I think it's worth a try. But that's just my opinion. Do you agree? Disagree? With Warzone Mobile coming out in May, and 6v6 Modern Warfare 2 not doing so well, what else do you think should be added this year? Feel free to comment down below. And if this video does well, maybe I'll do a part 2 or more videos like this. My name is On, and I'm off.